When a man allows himself to be fully present in a moment of real closeness, something far more powerful than physical attraction begins to unfold. He steps into a space where he can drop the armor he wears every day, the quiet defenses that help him face the world but often keep him at a distance from the person he loves. In that space, vulnerability stops feeling like weakness and starts to look like courage. It takes courage to let someone see who you really are, to let them sense the hopes and the insecurities that usually stay hidden behind polite smiles or confident gestures. Men are often taught from a young age that strength means control, that they should never let their guard down. Yet the true strength reveals itself when they choose to share their inner world with a partner, when they allow feelings to flow without trying to manage or disguise them. This isn't about dramatic declarations or perfectly chosen words. It's about the quiet willingness to be seen, the readiness to meet another person heart to heart. That's where intimacy turns into something transformative. In moments of deep connection, a man's mind may race with unspoken questions. Will she accept the parts of me I'm not proud of? Will she still admire me if she knows my fears? The remarkable thing is that when those questions are met with kindness and acceptance, a profound shift happens. He discovers that being vulnerable doesn't diminish him, it deepens the bond. Instead of losing respect, he gains a richer kind of confidence, one rooted in authenticity rather than performance. True intimacy isn't a performance anyway, it's a mutual unveiling. When two people trust each other enough to be completely present, the usual need to impress fades away. He stops thinking about what he's supposed to look like or how he's supposed to act, and starts focusing on the simple truth of being with someone who sees him as he really is. That sense of safety allows both partners to relax, to breathe together, to communicate without words. This level of connection brings a quiet joy that lingers long after the moment itself. It's the kind of joy that doesn't depend on grand gestures or perfect circumstances. It's born from honesty and mutual respect. A man who experiences this begins to understand that vulnerability is not the opposite of strength. It is the foundation of it. He sees that by opening himself to another person, he is also opening himself to growth, becoming someone who can love more fully and be loved more deeply. When we talk about relationships that truly last, this is the heart of the matter. Physical closeness may spark the initial excitement, but emotional openness sustains the flame. Vulnerability invites understanding, and understanding nurtures trust. Trust then becomes the soil where love can continue to grow season after season. That is the quiet power of letting yourself be known, of daring to step beyond the surface and into the truth of connection. The foundation that allows vulnerability to blossom is trust. And for many men, this trust is not something they give lightly. It is built moment by moment through consistency, empathy, and the quiet assurance that their feelings are safe. When a man senses that his partner genuinely respects him, his boundaries, his dreams, his fears, he can begin to release the instinct to hold back. Trust is the bridge that carries two people from the excitement of attraction into the depth of lasting connection, and without it, even the most passionate moments feel incomplete. Trust grows in small gestures more than in grand promises. It shows up when someone listens without judgment, when they keep confidences, when they respond with patience instead of criticism. Each time these things happen, a man feels a subtle confirmation: I can be myself here. I am safe to share more. Over time, this repeated experience of safety becomes a quiet certainty. It tells him that intimacy is not a risk to his dignity, but a place where he can breathe freely. In a culture that often teaches men to hide their emotions, discovering a space of trust can be life-changing. It allows them to drop the performance of constant strength and to admit moments of uncertainty or hurt. This doesn't mean they lose their independence. It means they gain a richer sense of partnership. Trust lets them know they can lean on someone without fear of being judged as weak. That reassurance opens the door to conversations that go far beyond surface talk. Conversations about hopes, fears, and personal growth. When a man experiences that kind of trust, physical closeness also changes in meaning. It stops being merely a release of energy and becomes an expression of mutual respect. He is no longer focused on proving himself or meeting an expectation. Instead, he is present, attentive, and attuned. The simple act of knowing that his partner values his emotional well-being turns every shared moment into a dialogue of care. It becomes less about what either person can take and more about what they can give to nurture the connection. Trust also acts as a safeguard when challenges arise. Every relationship faces misunderstandings, disagreements, or periods of distance. For a man who has built real trust with his partner, these difficulties do not signal the end, but an opportunity to strengthen the bond. He knows that open communication will be met with fairness. He knows that a temporary conflict does not erase the respect they have cultivated. This assurance allows him to stay engaged and to work through issues rather than withdrawing. There is a quiet strength in being able to say, "I know you will not use my openness against me." That strength encourages deeper honesty and creates a feedback loop of understanding. The more he trusts, the more he shares. The more he shares, the more trust grows. Both partners feel this, and both benefit from the calm confidence it brings. It becomes easier to plan a future together, to dream together, and to navigate life's uncertainties as a team. Ultimately, trust is not just a feeling, but a daily choice, choosing to believe in each other, to show up, to keep hearts open even when it would be simpler to hide. For men who step into this choice, intimacy becomes more than a physical act or a fleeting emotion. It becomes a partnership built on respect and care, a safe harbor where they can rest and from which they can grow. This is the soil in which love deepens and endures, and it is why trust is not only a key point in any relationship, but the very heartbeat of lasting closeness. The moments after deep intimacy often hold a quiet significance that many overlook, and for men this period can carry a wave of unexpected feelings that linger well beyond the physical experience. It is not merely a time to rest, it is a time when emotions that may have been hidden under the surface rise gently into awareness. There is a soft afterglow that wraps itself around the connection, and it speaks to more than just satisfaction. It speaks to belonging. A man may find himself reflecting on the person beside him, realizing that what just happened is as much about shared trust as it is about desire. The warmth he feels is not only from physical closeness, but from knowing that he has been accepted fully in both body and spirit. This afterglow can bring a deep sense of calm, a release of tension that reaches far beyond muscles. In those minutes, he may notice how his breathing naturally aligns with his partner's, how silence becomes its own form of communication. It is as if the outside world fades for a little while, leaving only the gentle awareness of another heartbeat near his own. For many men, this is when they begin to feel the true meaning of intimacy, not in the act itself, but in the quiet presence that follows. The satisfaction is not just physical, it is emotional reassurance, a confirmation that the bond is real and mutual. Sometimes the emotional impact surprises him. He might feel gratitude swelling unexpectedly, or a tenderness that words cannot capture. These are not emotions that can be forced, they arrive because the moment has been built on respect and trust. He understands, even if he cannot explain it, that this connection is rare and worth protecting. The experience leaves him more inclined to nurture the relationship, to communicate with greater honesty, and to honor the vulnerability that both partners have shared. There can also be reflection, thoughts about life, about the journey that brought him here, about how fleeting and precious genuine connection can be. This reflection is not heavy or anxious. It is often peaceful, like looking at a calm sea after a storm. He might think about how much he values the person beside him, how he wants to continue growing together, or simply how lucky he feels to be understood without having to speak. These thoughts, though unspoken, become part of the unbreakable thread that weaves two lives closer. The emotional afterglow is not only about comfort, it can inspire action. A man who feels this level of closeness is more likely to show care in everyday ways, through kind words, gentle gestures, or simply being more present. The memory of that quiet connection encourages him to protect the relationship from distractions or misunderstandings. It becomes a motivator to keep building trust and to approach future moments with the same attentiveness. Even in long-term relationships, this period after intimacy can be a renewing force. It reminds both partners that their bond is more than routine, more than habit. It is a living, breathing connection that requires appreciation. For men, recognizing and embracing these feelings strengthens the relationship's foundation. It shows that what happens in the silence after can be as profound as any spoken declaration of love. When he allows himself to experience this afterglow fully, he begins to see that intimacy is not a single event, but a continuous dialogue. The emotions that rise in those quiet moments guide him toward deeper respect, more open communication, and a commitment to keep the relationship vibrant. This is the subtle but powerful gift of the emotional afterglow. It transforms a physical encounter into a lasting affirmation of love and partnership. Respect and mutual care are the steady rhythm that keeps intimacy alive long after the first spark fades. When a man approaches a relationship with this mindset, every shared moment carries a sense of dignity. He understands that closeness is not about taking something, it is about giving attention, listening, and recognizing that both people have equal worth. This perspective changes how he speaks, how he touches, and even how he plans his time. He no longer sees intimacy as a performance or a right to be earned. It becomes a shared choice built on consideration for each other's feelings. Mutual care begins with the smallest actions. It shows in asking how a partner feels and truly hearing the answer, in remembering the little details that matter, in making space for her comfort as well as his own. These gestures may seem ordinary, but they form the quiet proof that love is not just a fleeting emotion. For a man, demonstrating this respect reinforces his own sense of integrity. He is not only caring for someone else, he is living up to the standard he sets for himself. This respect naturally shapes the way physical closeness unfolds. Instead of focusing solely on his own experience, he becomes attuned to signals, moods, and unspoken boundaries. He notices when she needs reassurance, when a pause might mean more than words, when a gentle touch says, "I see you," more clearly than any compliment. In this environment, intimacy ceases to be about winning or pleasing. It becomes an ongoing conversation where both voices are heard. Mutual care also shows itself when life outside the relationship grows complicated. Work pressures, family demands, and personal struggles can all create tension, yet respect ensures that frustration does not turn into harm. A man who values his partner will choose patience over sharp words, honesty over silence, and kindness over pride. He understands that every challenge is an opportunity to show love not only when it is easy, but when it is hard. These moments of deliberate respect build trust that cannot be shaken by temporary storms. There is a quiet confidence that grows from treating each other this way. Both partners feel secure enough to express needs without fear of judgment. They can share dreams and vulnerabilities, knowing they will be met with understanding rather than dismissal. For a man, this creates a deeper sense of belonging. He is not just a participant in someone's life, but an equal partner in shaping a shared future. The relationship becomes a safe place where both can explore, learn, and grow. This mutual care extends beyond the private space of the relationship. It influences how he speaks about his partner to friends, how he supports her ambitions, how he celebrates her successes without competition. Respect means valuing her independence and encouraging her growth, not holding her back. It is a daily practice that strengthens the bond while allowing each person to remain whole. When respect and care are present, intimacy naturally retains its warmth. The physical connection remains meaningful because it is never taken for granted. Each encounter, whether a simple hug or a quiet conversation, carries the weight of appreciation. A man who understands this finds that love becomes richer with time. He sees that the deepest satisfaction does not come from passion alone, but from the calm joy of knowing he and his partner honor each other completely. That is the enduring strength of respect. It turns fleeting moments into a lifelong partnership built on trust, kindness, and genuine love. Communication beyond words is often where the deepest understanding lies. When two people share genuine intimacy, their connection speaks in subtle gestures, quiet pauses, and unspoken signals that carry more weight than any carefully chosen phrase. For a man, recognizing this silent language can be transformative. He learns that he does not always need to explain or impress. Sometimes the most powerful message is the calm presence he offers, the steady way he listens with his whole being. This is where true closeness begins to feel effortless, as though the heart itself has found its own way to communicate. Consider the way a single glance can say, "I'm here with you." The way a soft touch on the arm can reassure without interrupting. These are not grand gestures, yet they hold a richness that words often fail to capture. A man who is attentive to these moments senses the rhythm of his partner's emotions, when she feels comforted, when she needs space, when she wants to share joy without explanation. He discovers that listening is not only with the ears, but with the eyes, the hands, and the quiet awareness of another soul. This kind of communication thrives in stillness. After a day of noise and activity, simply sitting together in silence can feel more intimate than a long conversation. The absence of words is not emptiness. It is a shared trust that nothing needs to be performed. For men who are used to solving problems with action or speech, embracing this quiet can be a revelation. It teaches patience and presence, qualities that nourish a relationship far more than hurried solutions. Nonverbal understanding also deepens physical closeness. During moments of affection, a man who pays attention to subtle cues, breathing, slight movements, the way tension rises or eases, shows respect without a single word. He does not have to ask for constant guidance because he is listening with all his senses. This attentiveness creates a sense of safety and care, making the experience richer for both partners. It reminds them that intimacy is a dialogue where both are equal participants, even when no voice is raised. Outside of romantic settings, this silent language continues to build the relationship. A reassuring smile across a crowded room, a gentle squeeze of the hand during a difficult conversation, the way two people can share a private joke with just a raised eyebrow. These small acts become a private vocabulary. They reinforce the feeling that they are a team, connected by something stronger than circumstance. For a man, knowing that he and his partner share this unspoken world brings a quiet pride and a lasting sense of unity. Such communication does not replace spoken words, it enriches them. When it is time to talk about hopes, worries, or plans, the groundwork of nonverbal trust makes those conversations easier. Because they already understand each other beyond language, there is less fear of being misunderstood. Words can then flow with honesty rather than defensiveness. This balance between silence and speech becomes a cycle of deepening trust, each reinforcing the other. Ultimately, communication beyond words reminds a man that love is as much about presence as it is about expression. By simply being fully there, attentive, patient, and open, he conveys everything that matters: respect, devotion, and an unwavering willingness to share life's quiet moments. In that shared stillness, he and his partner find a connection that is both gentle and enduring, a language of the heart that no words could ever equal. The lasting impact of shared moments is what ultimately shapes a relationship into something enduring. After the excitement of early attraction, what remains are the memories and emotions that two people build together, and these become a quiet force that strengthens their bond over time. For a man, recognizing the significance of these moments means understanding that love is not only about what happens in the present, but also about how those experiences continue to echo in the days, months, and years that follow. Each meaningful interaction becomes part of a story they are writing together, a story that deepens with every chapter. He might remember a conversation held late at night when the rest of the world felt distant, or the way they laughed so hard on a simple walk that time seemed to stand still. These memories are not grand events, they are small, vivid flashes that remind him why the relationship matters. When challenges arise, those recollections become anchors, offering proof that the connection is worth protecting. They create a sense of continuity, a reminder that love has weathered storms before and can do so again. The emotional weight of these shared experiences often grows stronger with reflection. A man may find that a quiet evening spent cooking together becomes just as meaningful as any major milestone. He realizes that the value lies not in extravagance, but in the feeling of partnership, knowing that someone chose to share that slice of time with him. These moments accumulate into a foundation of trust and affection that cannot be replicated by fleeting excitement. Over time, this foundation influences the way he approaches the relationship. He becomes more intentional about creating new memories, more willing to pause and appreciate the present instead of rushing through it. The understanding that today's ordinary experiences are tomorrow's cherished memories inspires him to listen more carefully, to be more patient, to invest energy in small acts of care. He recognizes that the quality of these moments will one day define the strength of their bond. This awareness also shapes his vision of the future. When a man treasures the history he shares with his partner, he begins to imagine the years ahead not as a series of obligations, but as an opportunity to keep weaving a life together. Planning trips, celebrating traditions, or simply dreaming aloud about what might come next takes on a deeper meaning. The thought of building a lifetime of shared memories becomes a source of comfort and motivation, reinforcing his commitment to the relationship. Even during times of distance or difficulty, the lasting impact of past moments serves as a quiet reassurance. A single memory of tenderness can soften anger, and a recollection of laughter can ease tension. These echoes of connection remind both partners that their relationship is larger than any temporary conflict. For a man, this realization provides stability and encourages him to approach disagreements with patience and empathy, knowing that the bond they have created is resilient. Ultimately, the enduring power of shared experiences transforms love into something that is both tender and strong. It is not dependent on constant excitement or dramatic declarations. It thrives on the steady accumulation of meaningful moments. A man who embraces this truth understands that every choice to be present, to listen, to share joy, or to comfort in sorrow adds another thread to a tapestry that time will only make richer. The lasting impact of these moments becomes the quiet heartbeat of the relationship, a living proof that real intimacy is not just felt in an instant, but carried forward for a lifetime.